the thousands in attendance and millions watching around the world, please welcome your host, the one and only Big Blue Jabroni!
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Big Blue Jabroni here with a quick little Sunday snap count here. Made my picks against this earlier this week. Today I'm just going to be kind of going over the games a little bit quick and kind of the storyline going into them and what I expect to see in these games and what I'm going to be looking for. First, the Jets versus the Bills, AFC East matchup. The Bills kind of really look like they're going to take this AFC East running away. They look like they have a really solid defense. I'm not the biggest Josh Allen fan, but I do think he's got a great head coach in Sean McDermott, and I think their defense is poised to have a big year, and I expect them to kind of really show it up against the Jets here. I think the Jets just really mismanaged. I really do like their drafts. They took Mekhi Becton, who I was a little worried the Giants were going to take because they said he's a little sloppy, but he's just so big. I think they can hopefully get something out of him because I really do like Sam Darnold. I just think there's just too little here for them to compete with the Bills. Even though I am not a crazy fan about Josh Allen, I just really think that Sean McDermott finds a really great way of utilizing him. Next, Packers-Vikings. Obviously, the Packers took Jordan Love in the first pick, and that was a bit of a shocker. And I think Aaron Rodgers is going to kind of really want to show up Green Bay this first week to show them, hey, I'm still here and I'm going to be here for a while. But I do think it's going to be a little too little. I think the Vikings roster at home is just going to be a little bit too dominant. And I think the Jordan Love talks start next week when everyone's on their overreaction Monday. Next, Washington versus the Eagles. If you remember last year, they played each other week one. Washington took a real big lead early on, and then they blew it. I can kind of see something similar happening here. I think going into the half, it'll be a bit of a close game, maybe even Washington up, and then in the second half, Philly pulls away big. Next, and once again, I'm going to go through these games really quick. Just want to put up a video on Sunday before I start watching some pregame here. Next, Browns-Ravens. Some people think the Ravens could have like an undefeated 15-1, 14-2 season. I'm gonna stop doubting Lamar Jackson until somebody shows me that they can stop him. I think they're gonna run all over Cleveland. Even though Cleveland, one thing I was thinking about going into this game, the Ravens are preparing for Kansas City. They know if we can beat Kansas City, we can get to the Super Bowl. The Browns all offseason must have been thinking, we gotta get to Lamar Jackson. We gotta beat the Ravens. And I think maybe that'll keep it a little close, but I do think the Ravens are going to be winners in this game, and the Lamar hype train is just going to keep going. Next, Colts-Jaguars. If you're not a Colts or a Jaguars fan, I don't know why you would watch this game. This is not going to be much to watch. I think the Colts are going to win, and I think Rivers might look pretty good in here, but I think Phillip Rivers is shot, and I think the Colts kind of made a mistake by signing him. I did love their draft. I love Jonathan Taylor. I like Michael Pittman Jr., but I just think it's over for that 04 draft class. And now Eli's gone, Big Ben's beat up, and Phillip Rivers, I just don't see him having a big year. I don't see how it's possible. Next, Raiders-Panthers. Raiders, a lot of people think are going to be on the bottom this year. I actually think they have a pretty good squad. I think they have a nice roster. I think Gruden and Carr, whether they might not seem to mesh well or love each other, I do think they work well in each other's systems. And I think that Matt Rule is a little over his skis here. He goes all defense in the entire draft. He brings in Joe Brady from LSU. I think he thinks, well, if you just give me a decent quarterback, I'll make it work because I'm an offensive guy and I know what I'm doing. But I think he's going to have a tough go of it early on. I know he's going to be trying to rebuild that entire organization, build up the culture. I think he's going to have a tough time doing that, and I think the Raiders win week one. Next, Bears-Lions, another game. Don't really care too much about. I think Matt Patricia and the GM are going to be absolutely gone once Tua starts to play and looks good, and I think basically the organization and the fans are going to start thinking, like, why did we take a corner over a franchise quarterback? I know a lot of people like Stafford. He puts up decent numbers, but he's been in the league for 10 years and he doesn't have a playoff win. To me, that's it. You got to move on. You either got the guy or you don't. And I think it's going to go really bad for Detroit this year pretty early on. There was some rumors he lost the locker room last year, and he was kind of trying to do things a different way, but I think they are in big trouble in Detroit this year. Next, Seahawks, Falcons. I love Russell Wilson. I got Seattle even going to the Super Bowl and Russ winning MVP, but I do think they struggle early on this week one. Going all the way from Seattle, all the way to Atlanta, playing Atlanta in that dome, all those wide receivers. Their offensive and defensive line is abysmal. I think they're going to need some time to get together and start playing where they need them to play. So I do think it's going to be a close one, but I think the Falcons are going to win. Next, a game a lot of people are going to be very excited to see. Cam Newton in the New England Patriots at home hosting Miami. If you remember, Miami beat them in Week 17 to cost New England a playoff bye. Brian Flores used to be with Bill Belichick. There's a little bit of a rivalry brewing there, and I think Big Brother Bill puts the clamps on that Miami offense, and they're going to win. And then all of a sudden, everyone's going to jump on that New England bandwagon again. I don't think they're going to be Super Bowl contenders, but I do think that they can contend for a playoff spot and be a very competitive team all year. Next, we got Chargers-Bengals. The first two quarterback picks in the NFL draft. We're not going to see Justin Herbert yet, but we are going to see Joe Burrow. I've been saying it for all offseason. I think Joe Burrow is going to be an absolute bust. I also feel like he's been dealt a terrible hand by going to the Cincinnati organization. Not a great offensive line. All their offensive pieces always seem to be banged up. A.J. Green, Boye, Tyler Eifert, they are always dealing with injury concerns over there and never really having top-tier talent. The Chargers roster is absolutely loaded. All they did need was a quarterback. I'm not crazy about Justin Herbert, but once again, we're going to see Tyrod Taylor today, and I think the Chargers take it easy. Next, 49ers versus the Cardinals. Kyle Murray played great against the 49ers last year, even against that defensive line and secondary. He came really close to beating them twice last year, but I think the 49ers might have something up their sleeve this week. I think the 49ers are going to try and show everyone we're not worried about the Super Bowl hangover. We're going to be here to stay. We're going to be good for a couple years, and I think they're going to win. But once again, I think Kyle Murray might make some little bit of magic at the end and make the score a little bit closer than the game was, but I do have the Niners winning. Next, the number one game of the week that everyone wants to watch, Tom Brady coming to Tampa Bay, his first season, his first start. I just find it so hard to believe. I just can't imagine a world where Sean Payton and Drew Brees have not been hyping this up to the whole locker room and everybody. Hey, this guy came into our division, is trying to come into our building, and I think they're going to want to really give it to Brady. They're going to want to beat the brakes off of him. They're going to want to show him this is not the division, and this is not any place for you that you want to be. I think they are going to be a decent team. I have them going to the playoffs, but I think week one, this is just a horrible matchup for them. You got Cameron Jordan going against the rookie Tristan Wirfs. I think he might get beat like a drum all day, and you know Brady doesn't want to get hit. He's going to be getting rid of that ball quick. I think you have some struggles early on from Tampa, but I have Saints winning that one. They're actually one of my really picks that I really like this week. Then you have the Cowboys going into the Rams, another NFC East opponent. I think the Rams, just because Sean McVay has been there for a while, they are home, they kind of know what they like to do, where you have Mike McCarthy, who took a whole year off from football, who's going to be trying to, with no preseason, kind of trying to pick up where he left off in Green Bay. I think it's going to be a little bit of a struggles early on. I do love their roster, and I do think they're going to be a good team, but I think week one, the Rams take it. Then our two Monday Night Football games. Let's do the late game first. We have the Titans going against the Broncos. I love the Titans roster. Other than Tannehill, I think he's wildly overrated, and they made a horrible decision by paying him. But I think they're a better team, and they should win this game. But I am going to take the Broncos strictly because when teams have to go to Denver week one, they always struggle. It's always tough. The altitude, you're not quite in football shape yet, and you got to get there. So I do like the Titans. I think they're in store for their patent 9-7 season again, but I think they open up the season with a loss. And then next, the game we've all been looking forward to, the game we all want to see. The Steelers come into New York, and I think if we can get creative and have the opportunities to give Saquon Barkley the ball 30 times, 30 touches, that's the number I'm looking for. I don't know if that's 20 runs, 10 catches, 25 runs, 5 catches, or 15 and 15. I don't care. But Saquon Barkley needs to get the ball 30 times this game. You need the Steelers to be worried about him every single play, and that opened it up for everyone else. I have the Giants win in this game. I know they're the underdog. I know they're the underdog even at home. I think the Giants are going to surprise some people this year. I think Joe Judge is going to whip these guys into shape and get them ready to go. But let me know what you guys think. If you have any fantasy sleepers, or if you have anyone that you think is going to show up, or whatever my picks you think are crazy. And then last but not least, win the ring contest. Link is in the description on my Twitter. All you have to do is follow me, send me a message, let me know who you want, and really simple. You pick 3 games a week, not against the spread, straight up. Only thing is you can't pick the same teams back-to-back weeks. If you take Seattle, Green Bay, and the Giants this week, that's fine. Next week, you just have to pick 3 different teams, whoever it is. Real simple. But let me know what you think, what picks you agree with, which ones you might not. We're real close to 100 subscribers. Hopefully we can get there on this video. Thanks again for all the support, guys. Jabroni out.